Hello, comrades. We're back again. This is your brother Jamala, also known as Brother Soldier 4D, Fourth Dimension. Um, we talked about two nations. We talked about how that is in the biblical setting of the story with Rebekah and Isaac having the children, Jacob and Esau. We talked about it at the level of the African struggle against the imperialism of the West during slavery and colonization, and basically even the struggle today. It continues. We also talked about how the powers of darkness and the powers of light are work against each other, and that's almost like two nations. And so, when we have these struggles, we have to make choices. We have to take side, and we have to make a stand. The stand to be an African and the stand to be a believer and a follower of God is basically a daily stand. It's not just that one time you go to the church altar and you say, "Hey, I want to give my life to the Lord," and it's a daily stand. Standing up for your brothers is a daily stand. You can sell out tomorrow. Depends on what your price is. If you're rooted and grounded in God, you probably don't have a price. You can't be bought. But you have to be wise. So we're not in here to be anybody's yes man and anybody's yaza bossa. Those days need to come to a cease. The buck dancing and stuff needs to stop. Selling your brothers out needs to stop. Whether you're in the corporate American workforce or whether you're up at the top of government on a continent of Africa, buck dancing, selling your people out and being a puppet, those days need to come to an end. And when we get people who want truth, who hunger and thirst for truth and righteousness, those will be the contenders. That will be the nation that's going to see to it that people like that are limited. People like that are restrained. And people like that are ostracized and expelled from our ranks. That's the only way we can go forward. If you will choose this day who you will serve, and if it be your people and your God, go that way. If it's your enemy and your oppressor, then get ready for the consequences that come out of that. Every choice has a consequence. So you can choose to do what's right and you still suffer. And you can choose to do what's not right and still suffer. But better is he, as the scriptures say, that does right and suffers than to do wrong and suffer. Because your reward is greater for the man who suffers for what was right. There's many people we can talk about who suffered for what was right. So we're talking about the two nations and the two nations that contend against each other. Now, if we are to move forward, how do we begin to identify with those who are against us? How do we know when to win those people over or when to say he or she is finished? Well, okay. I want to say that you have to be wise. You have to pray about it. You have to keep people at a distance that you think will do you harm. I don't give a darn if his name is Dada, Mama, cousin, grandma. If they are rooted in something that is anti, what you call counterproductive for the enhancement of the race, back off. Back off of. Okay, stay back. And same thing with spiritual practice. Same thing with just two nations warring against each other. So now, what is the position of a person that say they are got a good strong position in the oppressor society and they're people halfway like them and they're doing a job for the company, but they have these relatives and these people who are in need, they're struggling, and they want to also appeal to that group. Well, you have to be almost like Harry Belafonte. You may not be in the marches, you may not be in the protests, you may not participate in the things that put you on the front line of the battle. But you could be like Harry Belafonte. He gave Dr. King, he was acting and he didn't want his career damaged, but he was shoveling and funneling money to the brother Dr. King throughout the process of Dr. King's struggles and fights and getting put in jail, getting hit, stabbed. He got stabbed by a black female. I mean, that man went through a lot. And so Harry Belafonte, from what I understand, was kind of giving my brother money under the table, saying, "Hey, man, I can't come out and I can't show my face with you, but here, bro, that's the way you roll, man. You might go on and show your pearly whites, go on and do your acting, and be faithful to your struggling people. Don't be a big old Uncle Tom sellout, Aunt Jemima. Man, those people are useless. They're just useless." "Yes, sir, Mr. Charlie." "Yes, ma'am, Miss Daisy." Man, you guys need to come up out of that bamboozled bullcrap. Now, if they're getting ready to cut your nuts off, your testicles, they're getting ready to, hammer you to the wall, and maybe you have to buck dance a little bit just to get out of that tight situation. But man, when you up here making your own money, you working, you're on a job, why you need to buck dance and act a fool before your fellow man? This is just not worth it. So I thought I'd go ahead and throw that at you. How do you serve your brothers and not be a sellout? Like I said, you can serve them in secret. You can send money through somebody else to put on their books when they're in prison as a political prisoner. We have a lot of political prisoners that are very left and just forgotten. And I'm not even on an organization like Amnesty International or anything like that. I've heard about them. Man, when I read some of the stories of what these brothers went through and how they're still incarcerated or how they just got out of prison, it is just heart aching. They're just forgotten by a lot of society. And we can't forget our warriors in the struggle, put their life on the line. So we need to be conscious of these things, and we need to do what little we can to ease the pain of suffering comrades. We need something to ease the mental scars of suffering little ones. We need to ease the pain of the religiously deceived in thinking that you can pay your way through the kingdom with giving all this money to the church, and people are being ripped off and they barely can eat. It's just some things going on that we have to pray for these people, but we also have to make them aware as much as possible of not to allow people to exploit us. So at any point, maybe I'm rambling here or there, but this is just I don't want to put you to sleep, but this is some of the things that happen when you're dealing with nations and factions rivaling against each other. So how would I conclude this lesson? I'll conclude this lesson with these words. Be faithful to God. Be faithful and true to yourself. And even if yourself is not right, be true to try to get yourself delivered and true to try to get yourself liberated, whether it's spiritual bondage or physical bondage. Be true to yourself when you go to hear things and seek the truth. Allow yourself to hear the truth. Make the adjustment, because it's not comfortable to be told the truth in its raw form. Sometimes it's very uncomfortable. And you have to be able to pray that God will prepare you with the mind and a heart to handle the things that you need to change about. We need to change about ourselves, and things that we need to say to other people to help them get them on the right course. So this is the basis of talking about two nations. Two nations are going to always be rivaling against each other. You're going to have that brother and that sister, and you're going to have that uncle, and you're going to have that father, that mother, that are going to probably not agree with you, and the journey is going to be kind of lonely. But you have to do what is right. You got a lot of people now leaving the diasporas and coming to the continent of Africa. Some people just can see the writing on the wall, and they can see that things are not looking things are looking pretty grim for the Africans in the diaspora, and they're starting to come home and to the continent. And there's benefits, to coming, and there's some other downside to it, but you still can do well. So I would encourage you to, people say the sky's the limit. I would encourage you to look beyond the American dream. Look beyond the American dream and look toward a more liberated, a more elevated, and a more spiritualized approach to our basic liberation. Look for something beyond the American dream. The American dream was something that was given out, as I say, by Dr. King, and he said he had a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. But I would say, look beyond that, and let's think about the continent, and let's think about developing, and let's think about liberation on that level. And even if you should choose, as I've said before, not to return to the continent, please have your heart turned towards your people. Remember, there are children there that need food. There's children there that need education. There are children there that need your support. So if anything, do something for the youth. Get them. They need parks. They need sliding boards, swings in different parts of the communities. These are so absent in Africa. You pitch some money together, get a little plot, and let's put some things out here for the little ones to play when they're under duress and stress. It's a human rights act, an act of human rights to make sure these children have this free of charge. Maybe some sprinkler systems where they can run through the water. Come on, let's get together and do something for the continent. So anyway, if you like this, give a thumbs up for the 3 series. And this is, I guess, a 3-part thing, and I'm kind of drifting off into the other things, but into some other needs. But anyway, 2 nations. You always have a contender. Whenever you're trying to do right, you will have someone there to try to tell you to do wrong. Whenever you're doing wrong, hopefully there's somebody there to try to steer you to do right. But always be right by your people, and always put your people first and put God first, and then you can better serve everyone else. Until then, peace, love, and God bless, and we'll be back with you on another topic, and I believe it's going to be about King Ahab and Jezebel and that spirit in modern day struggles with the African liberation movement. Peace.